What's up, geeks and everyone else? Welcome to Geek Mythology, a podcast brought to you by my good friend Sow.
Oh wait, I said it. Also known as Twiggy on YouTube.
Were you waiting for me to say something else? Jeez.
No,
It's been a while since we last recorded.
Yeah, it's also. I'm pretty sure. We'll talk about why in a bit, but I'm pretty sure this is the first video we've recorded after school.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's been quite intensive because today is Revenge of the 5th, as people call it. Like,
oh, is it really?
5th of May.
I didn't know that.
Apparently that's the thing, Revenge of the 5th, okay? The day after May the 4th, and we decided we need to make an episode about a certain thing that came out yesterday. Yes. Yesterday being May the 4th. Yesterday is actually like 3 days ago for you guys listening on the 7th of May. Unless you're not listening on the 7th of May, then that's awkward. I don't know what I'm talking about.
But I will say, guys, I hope you appreciate this from Seth. This is going to be the quickest turnaround of a podcast episode he's ever had to do.
Well, I've recorded it and edited and uploaded in like 1 or 2 days before. It's just that I didn't need to do that, and also I didn't have school. That was like I had the whole day to myself.
But like, I mean, if you were, but like, okay, we were going to do a bit of idle chat, but before we get to idle chat and catch up a bit, I'm going to explain why. Yesterday, a new Star Wars series launched, and this episode, as you might know from the title, well, on our document it has a question mark, but it basically will be, but it's a Star Wars special, because like, it's near May the 4th, and also a new series came out, Bad Batch came out yesterday. And we decided we've got to record this after we've seen the first episode of that.
Yeah.
And that's basically this.
Let's just introduce some ground rules, okay? Can we just have this 3 days span all be May the 4th, okay? I'm still in the Star Wars mood. Can we just May 5th, 6th and 7th, all Star Wars Day. Star Wars Week. There we go. Yes. May the 4th be with you, everyone. I know it's not the 4th anymore, but I still want to say that.
May the 4th be with you. Revenge of the 5th.
There's like a whole month's worth of stuff, I swear, like, or at least a week's worth of Star Wars related.
The Rise of the Sixth Walker.
7.
I don't know.
This episode comes out on the 7th. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. How have you been?
I've been okay.
I mean, this is the first episode we've recorded since school started back up after the holidays.
You were saying earlier on, let's bring up something interesting. You were saying literally 10 seconds before I started recording, you were talking about what if we listened to this podcast in the future and what we would think about this. What do you think we would react? How would we react in the future if we listened to this?
To be fair, so far, I've never actually listened to a whole episode that we've recorded before. I've never actually fully listened to a whole episode after it's been released.
Yeah.
So far, I haven't. No, I just have not listened. So I guess it'll be interesting to hear what we talked about, and obviously I'll probably be remembering the conversation as I'm listening.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened. I listened to them twice. Once in the edit.
You have to, yeah.
And then once I do listen to them again at some point, often in a voice chat with a certain other person. I do listen.
I've not listened back to them yet. I've not listened back.
Yeah, it's quite interesting though, because I don't feel. It's myself, like, I don't really feel anything.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going back 5 years to when I was a young kid. I mean, that's cringe.
Okay.
That's cringe.
Okay, no. I don't know if you want me to say this, but I don't know if we should say this yet. And if you don't want this to be in the episode, you can, cut it out. But, like, we are planning to end this for...
Whoa! Are we ending this? No! R.I.P. Rip.
I
Yes.
can't tell whether you're being sarcastic as I shouldn't be saying this or we should be saying this.
You know, I
It's
haven't
okay to say this in this episode.
decided how we should let the viewers, the geeks out there, know. Do we tell them now? Do we, you know?
I should have probably asked you this before we started recording.
I mean, if this makes it into the final cut, you know what decision I've made, and if this makes it into the final cut, I've decided that you guys ought to know that this isn't gonna last forever.
Okay, so if this is in the final cut, supposedly, according to our notes, we're gonna end this with episode 26, aka basically a year since we started. And the interesting thing about this podcast is this wasn't a podcast about us at all, really.
I mean, it could have been, right?
It could have been, but like we kind of stuck to pop culture as we intended. But that's good.
I mean,
that's good.
It's because also, we live very boring lives. There's just not much to talk about. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess we'll have more episodes in the future. Don't you worry about our lives more. Like, there's plenty of stuff to talk about, and I hope you guys stick around because, yes, but enough shameless plugging.
Even if our life is boring, pop culture is never boring.
Exactly. That is why we talk about
also,
stuff.
I'm pretty sure people know our age, but next year is quite an important year for us as well in terms of.
You know,
I don't want to think about it.
I went to a meeting yesterday about like university applications, Oxbridge, and I'm like, geez, I definitely can't continue this podcast.
So basically, yesterday I saw the notes and I was like, that's sad, but it makes sense as well. It does make sense. But yeah, we'll probably get into this more in like a penultimate or last episode, but
well, yeah, as I said before though, I haven't said this at all publicly, but I said this in your Twitch chat when the Hive was getting shut down. Don't be sad that it's ending, and be happy that it happened. I like that quote a lot. I don't know where it's from. I think it's like I can't remember actually. Anyway,
if this makes it on the cut, you guys know. But back to
I know why you're here. It's because you want to hear about the Bad Batch, the new show, the Star Wars stuff. Because it's a Star Wars episode. Because it's May the 4th today.
Well, yeah.
I mean, May the 4th, you know, like, week.
Yeah.
I have a Star Wars themed joke.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I have a Star Wars themed joke to get everything, you know, kicked off with a bang.
Yeah. Good. At this point, when it comes to jokes, I just kind of let you do it.
You just mentally prepare yourself. Yeah. Okay. What did Obi-Wan say to Luke when he was having trouble eating at a Chinese restaurant?
No idea.
Use the fork, Luke. You know.
That's just heresy.
It was that trench run scene. I know you've probably only seen that movie once.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's the fact that the first thought I had was like, okay, I admit I'd probably use a fork myself, but also it just sounds like, Obi-Wan, how could you?
Thing is, I can use chopsticks, right? It's just I'm slow. I can eat much faster with a fork, so like sometimes I use a fork, and I'm probably betraying all my Asian ancestors. Like they're all looking down at me right now, saying, "How could you eat with a fork?"
I mean, I'm pretty sure my side of Asia, we use our hands.
Yeah, I mean, hands with noodles and like ramen. I mean,
I've done it. Oh, not ramen.
Wait, with hands?
No. Okay, no, I've eaten plain noodles. You know when it's just like noodles, like mixed with curry. I've eaten that with my hands, but not like ramen because that's in water.
I hope I haven't annoyed anyone by saying that because I use a fork.
Bad Batch.
Okay, so Bad Batch is I'll recap this about what the show is about. So it's this show about how can I say this, like the Star Wars version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, yes.
Oh,
We've got a gang of like people who have like special abilities. Some are great at killing. I mean, they're all good at killing. Okay, you've got
yeah,
like
we're gonna
Tech, who's
tech.
the smart guy. You've got Echo, the droid. You know, you always
Half
have to have a
right.
droid to hack into things, right? But they don't have a droid. They have Tech. They have Echo,
Yeah.
who can plug his thingy, his arm. Yes, his arm, definitely. What else could it be? He plugs that in to do
And those
things
so
with
quick.
computers. Um, what else? Who else? There's Wrecker, who blows stuff up.
Yep. He's
There's
also strong
yes, there's Hunter, the sharpshooter
leader.
sniper guy.
No, that
Oh
no,
no, that's
you got their
Crosshair.
names mixed up earlier today as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, Hunter has enhanced senses and he's the leader.
he's the Rambo. I've heard that said many times. I don't know who
Oh
Rambo
yeah, it's like
is.
the bandana. It's the bandana on top.
Who is Rambo? He's familiar.
He's I think he's just like it's like the buff dude with the red bandana and guns.
I've just annoyed
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
huge chunk of the pop culture like community by saying I don't know
yeah.
who Rambo is. I'm losing viewers every day.
But yeah,
Jeez.
basic. Where were we? Oh yeah, we were just introducing the Bad Batch,
Mhm.
and they were first introduced at the start of Clone Wars season 7.
Yeah. I mean that was a smart move actually. If they wanted to make a
Yeah,
whole show, better to like have a low risk like 4 episode arc just to see what the audience think about it and then
uh,
improve the show, which I think they did actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because our second ever episode has the word. I think this is because of Clone Wars, not because of its announcement, right? But it's the fact that Bad Batch is in the title of our second ever episode.
Oh no, it was because it was announced. I think we made an episode like talking about what we think would happen, like predictions basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
like how it's almost been not a year, but many months, like 10 months
yeah, yeah. It's been like
since
yeah,
that
10.
episode. So, yeah.
Oh my god! So it's been like
Do you know what we should have done?
9 months.
We should have rewatched, re-listened to that episode,
Oh, we should have.
and like see if we were right or completely like wrong.
I don't know how deep we go into our predictions though.
But yeah, as I said, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Star Wars. Um, that is essentially it. That's what the show's about. I mean, they basically these guys were like super special clone troopers
Yeah,
who
they were enhanced in special ways.
who end up becoming mercenaries. That's what the synopsis says, and that's
Oh,
what has happened.
wait, is that literally what it says?
Yeah, I mean, I this is not
I, th- I,
spoilers, by the
I
way.
think
This
I
is
said
like common knowledge. I'm sorry.
I think I said that. I think I remember me saying that in the episode too.
You know what? I need to before I get carried away and accidentally slip any sensitive information. Spoiler warning, okay? Um,
Yeah,
I'm sorry if I said something that you hoped to not find out just yet. But yeah, spoiler warning. Go watch the
yeah,
show, the first episode at least, and then watch this one because
yeah,
spoilers.
yeah,
We have spoilers for the first episode, basically.
yeah. I mean, well, what else is there to really say other than should we just get into what happened?
Yeah.
Can I start off?
Do you want to like?
Actually, wait. Can I say something before I start?
Okay.
Wait, were you gonna say something before I start?
No. You have
Okay,
free reign. Go ahead.
okay. One, I did not notice this. I did not see this, probably because I was trying to like figure out how I was sitting on the sofa and stuff. But apparently, certain stills or images or well, yeah, more like cuts, small few seconds from Revenge of the Sith were apparently animated or quote unquote animated,
Yeah.
in the Clone
Yeah.
Wars art style.
It's hard to. Well, it's quite easy to miss. I think it was at the beginning. You know, in every Clone Wars episode, you've got like a montage of different scenes, and you've
And
got
the
the intro
narrator.
guy who's like, "The galaxy is in turmoil," something like that. So we had that, and
Sounds like David Attenborough.
I can't do his voice. It's like a powerful
The
like
Galaxy.
announcement voice.
It's like do you know, in Cora as well, there's the news person. It's like the old news voice. Do you get what I mean? Like
Kind
the
of,
like
yeah.
news voice. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, sort of
But
like
he
that.
was like, the Clone Wars is coming to an end, or something like that, and they were
Yeah, yeah.
basically just showing Revenge of the Sith like scenes, basically telling that Grievous is on the run and he's about to get captured, and like the Clone Wars is about to end, and then the first scene of the show was essentially the Clone Wars ending. Order
Yeah.
66.
Yeah. Okay. Now that we've said that, there's something important question mark.
Yeah.
Or important to me and any people who have seen Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
We got Caleb Dune, and you might not recognize a name, to be honest, because I didn't.
You
At
won't
first.
recognize the name, but you'll recognize the voice, because 40-year-old
Yeah.
Kanan actor, I think his name is Freddie Prinze Jr., who plays Kanan. He's like adult now. He was playing
so
the
we
kid.
got Kanan Jarrus. Yeah.
12-year-old kid
Jarrus
being played by adult. There we go.
I think he did a good enough job, though, to be honest.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not a problem. It's just me nitpicking, but if
because
I
honestly,
had the choice,
like,
okay, if I had the choice, I'd cast a teenage actor, especially if he's gonna play a bigger role. Like, I assume and I hope that Kanan like comes back at some point.
Okay, can I just say, you say that, right?
Yeah.
That a teenager should have voiced him.
Yeah.
But adults voice teenagers and children all the time.
I mean, but his one was like wasn't young enough.
Is it because you were locked into this is Kanan? Oh, like the Kanan we know.
No, it's just you could. I felt like it was just not high enough. Like, it wasn't like voice cracking like normal teenagers crack, like low voice. Like, it wasn't.
I kind of liked it.
I think.
Honestly, yeah. I told you and our other friend about this, but like, it might have been because I saw a glimpse of like a message you sent before in the our spoiler channel on our Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, yeah, something happened. Okay, so yeah, I come into it. Okay, and they call him Caleb, and I was like, something seems familiar about that. Something's jogging in my brain, you know. And then I slap my sofa arm where I'm sitting, basically like slam my hand down, like scurry around, like rummage around for the remote, pause it, rummage around for my phone, and quickly jam in Kanan Jarrus Caleb, so as to not get spoiled about that, right? So I was like, and it says Kanan Jarrus, birth name Caleb Dune, and I was like, my boy.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there's something weird about when Jedi change their name. Everyone goes to Ben, but he keeps his surname. Caleb goes to Kanan, sounds the same. Ahsoka goes to Ashla, sounds the same.
Does she?
Yeah, in the book.
What? When?
In the book.
Oh, okay.
In the Ahsoka book. And I'm like, if you really want to hide from the Empire, maybe choose something completely different. That's what I'd do, you know? If I'm called Sugi, I'd go to Peter. There we go. Or something like that.
That's true. But also, like, the thing is, if you're gonna hide the fact that you're a Jedi, do what Obi-Wan did. But I guess Ahsoka and Kanan were actively trying to before.
I mean, Kenobi had a secret mission to protect Luke.
Yeah.
Other Jedi, you know, they were fighting against evil, so use your powers, you know?
I mean, like, Kanan was training a kid.
Like,
so,
if you've got...
and said kid got rid of, like, one of the biggest threats as well, so he did good. He did good,
yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like one of the smaller things that I guess it's sort of a tidbit. If you know your Star Wars media, it's a tidbit for you. Because I know a few more casual fans might have not seen. Well, I'm not really not a casual fan, but you know, some
Yeah,
people who haven't seen Rebels wouldn't have
you're
known who
on
that
the
was.
fandom spectrum to bring this up again.
Yeah.
Most people won't care that Caleb made an appearance. He's just some Jedi, okay?
Yeah.
That's what my point I was earlier trying to make was they specifically brought in Caleb to cameo.
Yeah.
And I hope that they actually use him in a future story. Otherwise, they could have just put in a disposable Jedi, right?
I just realized, right? This is sort of the Darth Vader situation, right? Or
Okay.
like Anakin situation, in the fact that we know he dies because Darth Vader also dies in the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But you get it. Okay, to be fair, a lot of Rebels was like much of his story, but this is his story before then. So I'm saying it's like Darth Vader. I'm talking about the fact that it's just like it's a character what he did and how he dies, but this is like before he got to that point.
Like a prequel.
And sort of you get what I mean, right?
I
I'm
think
I'm
so.
I'm not butchering what I'm trying to say here, right?
I don't know. I kind of get the point. I kind of don't.
It's the fact that this is a character how their story ends,
Yeah.
right? And you heard about how their story started, and like you see how he ate clones because they killed his master. So like, how does he get to
Oh
like
wait, Kanan
where he
hated
is?
clones and rebels, didn't he? Like
Yeah,
really distrustful of them. That
yeah.
makes so much sense. We've seen it
But
happen now. I just made the
okay,
connection.
I thought that was obvious. He because of Order 66 and all. Even I knew that before I watched any of the other films.
I mean, yeah, it's quite obvious actually now that I think
Yeah,
about it.
but
Like
yeah.
every
So,
Jedi
so
should be,
we focused
distrustful of
on this
clones.
like small tidbit a lot, but yeah, basically, Rebels fans rejoice.
But then, okay,
Uh,
you've got in the middle Rebels fans who rejoice. If you go to the extreme other end of this fandom spectrum, you won't know this, but I do. There were Kanan comics, right? Comics about Kanan's backstory, which this show
what?
retconned.
Oh,
So the other extreme
oh,
end, there are people who are like, oh, they retconned Kanan's comic origin backstory thing. I'm not sure how to feel about this now. Personally, I'm happy. I don't mind. And I don't think people have really strong
I didn't
opinions,
know
right?
about this because obviously I'm a
It's
cartoon kid,
yeah.
but I don't
I
know
don't
about
know if people
that.
have strong opinions about this, like retconning a few details in the comics, but it does raise the question: how canon are the comics now? That's like the main concern, right? Because
Interesting.
Disney decanonized a bunch of stuff, legends now, and said
Yeah,
anything we
but even
make.
after that, Disney kept on producing comics, didn't
Yeah,
they?
but they said anything we make, our Disney comics will be canon. Okay, that's what they said. So that's and their reasoning for like decanonizing everything else was to make a streamlined, like more coherent story. That was like their excuse for like throwing a not
Mm,
okay, throwing away is a harsh word, but canonizing.
okay, yeah.
So now when they're like retconning a few things here and there, that excuse can't be used anymore. Okay, so
Yeah,
um, personally, I don't mind. I think it's great, and I hope if they do bring in Kanan that they use Kanan, right? Um,
yeah.
but it's if they did, which they did like change the backstory a little, and that's a concern. I think, like personally, like I think if you can help it, try and not retcon if you can help it. In this case, if it was just a random Jedi Padawan escaping, and they could have just used a disposable, like insignificant Jedi, right? Um,
Yeah,
I mean, if they're gonna bring in Kanan, make use of Kanan. I think that's acceptable. You know, it happened in the Mandalorian as well. In the Mandalorian, it wasn't as big as a thing. It was they slightly changed Cobb Vanth's backstory, but he's even more of a background character that you can make excuses for that, but it's just like with Kanan right now. Um, yeah, I think it's fine, I guess, but they can't keep going down this slippery slope. So like, there's got to be a line that they have to draw between do we introduce and retcon a few things, fan service essentially, or do we like keep things consistent? So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I get what you mean. So, but yeah, so that's just sort of the very start of the episode, and it's also sort of it's also where we start seeing what the conflicts. Well, not what the well, yeah, what the conflict is. Yeah.
Basically, from the very beginning, we see the conflict of I think the whole theme of the Bad Batch, and especially this episode, is how they conform to like the standard, right? Because they're very different clones.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're different with their mutations and all that.
Yeah.
Also in their beliefs and their decision making, um, they're challenged to think like, is this the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Do we follow
And
orders? That's like the
and
biggest
yeah,
theme.
this yeah, I guess we've already started spoilers, haven't we? But so we might as well dive into what the main sort of instead of going minute by minute, we might as well just address the major
Okay,
plot points.
before we move on, I just want to say, I, contrary to like what I just ranted on about, I actually really loved that Order 66 scene, and I almost found myself, I wasn't crying, but
Yeah, it
I
was
was
definitely like
really sad to see Order 66 again, death of
yeah,
Vilapa getting killed and telling Kanan to run, and that whole like moment with Hunter just trying to persuade Kanan, Caleb, like, I'll help you,
yeah,
but then Crosshair is there, like, following orders.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
he says the classic line of "good soldiers follow orders."
and
And I
like,
was like,
yeah,
that line genuinely sort of gave me chills because I was like, oh god, he said it.
I mean, good
You know,
soldiers do follow orders, right? But
but good men,
that does not mean you're a good person.
yeah.
Like, good
Because
soldiers do
obviously,
follow
like
orders.
I've seen some sort of shows, like if you know, some people might know the anime Full Metal Alchemist, but like the soldiers had to do basically genocide, and not all of them are proud of it, you know, sort of stuff. Like it's sort of to go into something else with Marvel. Like people say, like Steve Rogers was a good man, while
Yeah.
John Walker was a good soldier. You know, like so good soldier is sure you're good at your job, but that doesn't. It means like good patriotism, but you know, not person.
I mean, good soldiers should not question their orders. I know Star Wars
Yeah.
makes a thing about they sort of glorify free thinking, and I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But in the military, you if from the perspective of like a government or the leaders, you don't want your soldiers questioning anything.
Yeah.
I mean, for the good of your like army. Now, obviously, the army isn't always the good side, so like, and Star Wars is an anti-war like franchise. Like, sure, it's Star Wars, it's all about war, but they never portray war as a good thing.
Mhm.
And they, whenever they can, they'd always like encourage free thinking, and like the
Mhm.
whole Clone Wars thing was
Yeah.
about that. It was about like giving each individual clone a personality and the ability to think for themselves. Like Rex, I think he's the epitome of like individuality. I guess he paints his armor. He tries to resist carrying out Order 66, even though he's kind of forced to. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a stark change to the Bad Batch, because in the Clone Wars, the clones were the good guys. Now the clones are the bad guys, and they have to like juggle that, change our perception.
Yeah. So essentially, the Bad Batch is literally set during the following days, even like one day or a few right after Order 66 is set, and we see how all the clones are having. Well, yeah, they're following the Empire's rule now.
And they're very different, right? Like you
Mm.
never see like painted clone armor anymore. They're all white. They're all faceless. They're
Unless
all
they're shock troopers.
yeah. So they're all like stormtroopers, I guess. Like they're bad
No,
now.
that's exactly. Like, I asked this question to you guys a few months back because I genuinely know. So, were there clones working for the Empire? You guys told me yeah until there weren't.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
the
I
clones
think
slowly disappeared.
this show is going to explore that. You know, there's a
Yeah,
scene where Tarkin goes to Kamino and says, "We don't want your clones anymore." Like, I think we're going to see exactly what happens to the clones because I don't know for
yeah, and
sure.
of course the
Or
Kaminoans
yeah,
don't want that because this is their business.
yes, their economy is based on this. Um,
Yeah, but
we can talk. We could actually
so
talk more about that in the future predictions section. We'll talk about what we think will
yeah.
happen because there's
So
a few interesting
we,
things about
yeah.
Camino.
So do we need to talk about the main plot? Do you want to mention it, or do you want to sort of dive into?
I don't think we should like dive into the main plot. I think like
Okay.
most people would have seen like analysis videos and breakdowns
Yeah.
and all that by now.
But we're more about feelings. So, Seth, how do
Yeah,
you feel about the newest character,
Omega. Okay,
Omega?
how do you say
Ah,
it?
yes, Omega. Yeah,
Because the
Omega.
word is Omega, but the accent, the New Zealand accent, goes for Amiga sort of pronunciation. So
Okay, yeah. Just say it however you want to say it. That's
I
it.
tend to say Amiga now, which is
I,
weird.
I still go like Omega because that's how I've always said Omega.
I mean, like when it comes to physics lessons and omega particles, like imagine if I'm the only one who pronounces it with a New Zealand accent.
No,
uh,
like you just go. This one word makes you go full New Zealand. You start talking about Kiwis. I'm sorry, New Zealand. But anyway, yeah. Omega is supposedly a female clone,
I mean, I think she is a female clone.
which is fine. There's nothing wrong
No, I think that's
with
pretty cool though. Like,
yeah. So
yeah,
like yeah, because I'm pretty sure everybody's had that question. Like, are there female clones? Yes, there are. At least there's one.
there's
There's at
one,
least one.
and here's my thought on Omega.
Yeah,
Um, I really like her as a young like character. I don't know if she'll become the main character, but she's. I mean,
yeah.
there really isn't a main character.
It's
There
more
are
like the
main
main group, isn't it?
characters, but I
Yeah,
think if they wanted a main character, I think Omega should be. Um,
yeah.
because like the Bad Batch, the personalities of the Bad Batch characters, I don't know if anyone can like a specific one or like
They're like
they're
brothers, aren't they? They're like all the clones are like brothers, but like these guys are like brothers.
they're like walking like tropes, right? They're too
Yeah.
specific. I don't know. A certain group of people will like Wrecker a lot. A certain group of people will like Echo a lot. Like there
Actually, do
isn't
you know what I think about
one
it?
character to like 100%.
Yeah,
You know,
no, yeah. And now that I think about it, TMNT is a good analogy.
it
I
literally
was
is
laughing
like
at it when you first said it. I was sort of laughing. I was like scoffing at you when you were saying TMNT. I was like, yeah, I guess. Now I'm like, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
it literally is Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah, in terms
Turtles.
of like, because they don't always get along, but they're still close.
Yeah, it's just the point is like they're so like specific like personalities that you can't really like. I mean, you do like them, but you can't like one of them because they're. I can't explain
They're
this.
all
They're just. You can like them together, but if you look at one person individually, they're just too one-sided. You know, like
Mhm.
they're not main character material on their own.
Yeah,
But if they wanted a main character, I think Omega is the one.
yeah.
Because, like, another thing I want to mention is they've learnt, Dave Filoni, the animators, the story writers, they've learnt a lesson. Ahsoka was annoying when she started off. Ezra was probably more annoying when he started off. Omega is the opposite of annoying. She's like, she watches things. She doesn't do things. She observes,
And I think
I think.
when you like theorize what okay, so she's supposedly an enhanced clone, like Bad Batch, right? So my brain just cut off. Um, I was gonna say when I first saw her like talk to Crosshair, I was like, maybe she was made as like a therapist, a counselor, or someone. And like, I guess like,
I find that hard to believe. Kid counseling, like talking about your mental
but like
health.
that's the thing. I don't know how she could be an enhanced clone like that
I think
in that manner.
she is a secret project.
Yeah, yeah. Why? Why? What is she a secret? Why is she? What is about her? Then yeah,
You know, like first of all, she's female, like, and the first female clone that we know about.
yeah.
So you know, they could have been like the Camino scientists could have been like, could we create a clone of the opposite sex? And then there are people thinking she's force sensitive as well because she first of all, like, she notices that not Hunter, Crosshair is like having
I
problems,
can honestly, I can
and
understand why you keep calling Crosshair Hunter because of like sniper rifles, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, but like she like realizes that Crosshair is like conflicted, and
Yeah.
there's that scene in the prison where
Mm.
Crosshair's like really like debating what to do, and Omega's like, I know what you're gonna do, please don't do it. But I know it's not your fault, something like that. Honestly, I feel like anyone could have picked that up. Like, I can read
Mm.
facial expressions, and I think she knows about inhibitor chips if she hangs around the Camino, like,
Yeah.
high government a lot.
And I don't think
Um,
because she's not a battle clone, she doesn't have a chip probably as well.
like she knows a lot, right? She hangs around with I don't know their names, but the Camino person, and you
Yeah.
know when they were talking to Tarkin, a really high-ranking imperial like
Officer.
politician guy
Officer.
officer, she hangs around in their meetings, and you know normally those sorts of meetings with the highest ranking people, you can't access those meetings, but she's there hanging around. So I think she knows about the inhibitor chips.
Yeah.
So like that specific prison scene where she like talks to Crosshair, I get why people might say she's force sensitive, but that alone for me is not enough to say
Yeah.
that she's force sensitive. I think anyone could have picked that up. Well, at least given the context of her upbringing.
Yeah. But it will be interesting to see like what kind of enhanced clone she is, as well.
I someone told me, shout out to Harry, that she is like an empath, like she feels things.
Yeah,
She feels
yeah.
like, what's her name from Guardians of the Galaxy, the one with
Mantis.
antenna. Yeah, like some sort of person.
Yeah.
Also, she shot her first. She shot on target the first time she picked up a
Yeah, yeah,
blaster
that
at that
too.
near the end. So yeah, actually, there are grounds to say she's force sensitive, and if she
I feel
is,
like, do you know the
that's pretty
reason?
cool.
Do you know the reason Ezra and Ahsoka seem so annoying?
Just their Jedi.
Maybe, but I feel like Omega isn't cocky. She isn't like,
No,
because of course she's not a fighter. She's not cocky. Well, like Ezra was like some high level thief, and well, Ahsoka was a. They were like, oh yeah, no, I'm good at this stuff. Well, Omega's just like, I
you
like
know,
you
I
guys.
think with Ezra and Ahsoka, they're trying to prove themselves to be like good when they're essentially kids, right? They're not going to be
Yeah,
good, but they're trying to be good, so that's where they're a bit annoying. But Omega is like, she's tagging along
yeah, yeah.
essentially. That's how I see it. So she doesn't see herself needing to prove anything. She's there to join them, and she's taking a back seat. She's watching
Yeah.
things. She's observing things. Like she observes the way Crosshair is feeling.
I want to see her use a
Um,
bow.
she has a bow, doesn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, maybe her secret like enhanced ability is to replace Crosshair. Maybe she's really good at shooting.
Um,
Maybe she's literally gonna be.
yes.
If she managed to shoot the first time,
Yeah.
and she ends up carrying a bow, she's gonna be like Hawkeye,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah. But that's Omega. She's cool. I like her.
Hmm.
Is there,
I think
what else is there to say?
out of Ezra and Ahsoka, in terms of their debut, I think I like Omega more. I know I'm an Ahsoka like fan, but this is promising signs for Omega.
Yeah,
Like she's only had one episode so far, and I think she's
yeah.
like had a good
But
introduction.
well, what else is there? Anything? I guess in terms of trying to think about what else. Should we just talk about what we think's gonna happen? What the plot's gonna be?
Yeah. Do you want to start off with your predictions?
Again, I'm not gonna make any specific predictions because I can't do that up like a
Okay.
day. But I don't know who they're gonna meet, right? Because
Hmm.
they're going off to meet somebody in episode 2. But this is going to be a very much sort of crosshairs. That, I mean, that might be a given, isn't it?
You've cut out again.
I,
Sorry.
I was saying they might try and save
Yeah.
Crosshair. I feel like that might be a given, right?
Yes. I mean, they grow up together. They've spent their whole lives together. Like
Hmm.
they don't want to kill each other. I know Crosshair will want to kill them, but I don't think they will want to kill him. You
Yeah,
know,
and so that's
difficult
going to be a
decisions
major
they're gonna
plot
have
point.
to make.
Do you think this is going to be a single season show?
Mm. I think season one will do fine as its own as a single season show, but they're going to leave enough lingering and enough cliffhangers and stuff to make a full blown 4 season at least show. I think.
Yeah, for is like I feel like maybe at least 2 seasons. I hope
Yeah.
they won't push it. You know what I mean.
I think there is enough there. This area of Star Wars is relatively unexplored, so
Yeah. So
yeah.
okay, what? Okay, since I can't really make predictions, like they're gonna try and save Crosshair. They're on the run as well. But do you think can you think of any characters you want to show up other than obviously Kanan, who might come up again?
So we definitely know Rex will come up. So if Rex is coming up, Wolf and Gregor, I want to see them.
Yes,
See how
because
they
obviously we have
escaped
no
as Order
explanation. Like
66.
we know Rex got the inhibitor chip removed, right? But like we don't
Yeah.
know how Wolf and Gregor, because obviously we in Clone Wars we saw Gregor was like somebody who was abandoned, right? And because like the last we saw of Gregor was him blowing up some stuff, and we don't the fact that we know he survived is because of Rebels. And Wolf, we saw nothing of Wolf. Like we don't like, but we all know they were all commanders at least.
Oh, Wolf was like I think one of Plo Koon's clones. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I can't remember.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like they were all commanders, so like we know Rex survived because of season 7 or how he got it. But of course, we want to know sort of what happened with Wolf and Gregor as well.
Yeah.
Is there any? Do
Another
you
prediction
think
I
any
have
Jedi's gonna
is
come up?
I don't. Apart from Kanan, I don't think anyone
Yeah,
else will appear. Um, we know Fennec Shand from The Mandalorian is appearing.
really?
Yeah, she's in the trailer,
Oh,
I think. So, because they're gonna become mercenaries now. They're gonna like start
true.
interacting with the scum and villainy of the galaxy, which means I want to see Cad Bane come back as
Okay.
like he was a very dark, like scary, like but also really cool, like bounty hunter
Okay.
from Rebels.
Let's see if you can think about what I'm thinking. As soon as you said pirates, one person came to mind.
Hondo Ohnaka.
Hey, hey,
Yes,
my guy.
he is so funny. Like,
Because I honestly, for me, because I'm such a weird person, I obviously knew Hondo in Rebels, and then Clone Wars. Just he's amazing. So like,
I think in Clone Wars, he was a bit annoying. I
yeah,
think at first because he was like the bad guy. He was just like always
I was
ruining
like,
and getting in the
my
way of
friend
things.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, how are you?
Yeah, but then in Rebels, he literally worked with the characters and he
Yeah.
became so funny. Like,
But yeah,
Wow.
so we
I don't think we'll see him, but it'd be cool.
oh yeah, maybe not. But any other scum of this universe, Boba Fett.
I mean, I don't think we need to see him.
Yeah, we
He has his own show.
don't need to see him, but sort of like yeah, but let's see sort of what I assume they're going to interact with more rebels as well.
Yeah, I mean, Saw Gerrera, they'll probably do stuff with him
Mm.
and his group.
And
We will see Bail Organa. Like,
oh yeah.
he's like one of the first rebels. I mean, he wasn't publicly a rebel, and he did a good job, like, concealing his true motives and beliefs
Indeed.
for many years.
Yeah, and then
Anyway, my biggest prediction is a Camino versus Empire conflict.
true.
We see the rifts. Camino are not happy that the Empire don't want clones, and that whole thing near the end where the Bad Batch and Omega escape,
Allowed to
and
escape as well.
the clones tried to close the doors, but Camino lady tried to override the
I
controls.
wonder if that was her individual choice or whether she was told to do that. I feel like because she almost seemed like a parent figure to Omega, right? So I don't know if she was told to do that. I feel like she did that of her own accord.
Well, you see, when she told the Prime Minister of Camino about them escaping, he wasn't angry. He was like, okay, please keep that quiet. Don't tell the Empire, you know? And I'm like, maybe she wasn't ordered. Yes, maybe it was on her own accord, but maybe it's like something that they agree on. Like, they don't want the Empire capturing them.
Well, the Empire's going to
Having
know.
access
The Empire's
to
going to know, so.
No, at some point,
No,
yeah.
because Scott said.
Oh, yeah. No, but they don't know that Camino
Oh,
interfered.
yeah, no, they don't know that, but of course. Yeah. I get what you mean.
But I do think we'll see a war, and I think that's foreshadowing that if the Kaminoans could override the clones trying to close the door, then they can override the inhibitor chips from the Empire,
I mean,
right?
they can.
They made the chips. They should have a failsafe in there. Like, if the Empire, if things go sour between them and the Empire, then they could use the Empire's clone. Do what Palpatine did against the Jedi. They can literally do that.
Yeah, they can. But that was Bad Batch, right? There's not much else to say because we've had one episode, and the whole episode was just one long string along to catalyst events.
1 hour long thing.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, going back to Omega being a secret project, I think if she is force sensitive, definitely she is a secret project. Because in The Mandalorian, right, the Empire are using Baby Yoda to try and make a force sensitive clone. What if the Camino people knew how to do that and never told the Empire it's their secret? And maybe it's a secret that the Kaminoans will end up dying with, and the Empire will never know. They might know it's possible. They might eventually know, but they won't know how.
Because the Empire in Mando, they're trying to use a specific species which have a special connection to, or like they have a high M count. But like, how did the Kaminoans do it if they don't have such specificity?
Well, the Kaminoans are the experts on cloning, right? So they might know how to do it.
Yeah.
But the Empire aren't experts. They just buy stuff from them.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Bad Batch. I do see one note that either you might want to do or you might want to see the question, but it's like you wanted to talk more generally about Star Wars cartoons.
Star Wars now is more of a kids thing, in the sense that a lot of the content is made for kids. Like, the movies are great for kids, certainly older kids, but also they make a lot of cartoons. Like, we've got 3 major cartoons. The Resistance was there as well. 4 major cartoons, and like, I think it's with Omega being the main character. Like, as I said before, if they want to make a main character for this show, I think Omega is the one, because she's gonna be the character that the kids these days will like relate to.
Yes,
I think,
yes. They are also enhanced clones for being hunted by the Empire.
but I think the main thing is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
she's a
yeah.
kid, right? So, um, Dave Filoni, man, he's doing wonders for Star Wars.
He is like, of course, I had no idea who Dave Filoni was even while watching Spider Man, but he is definitely very cool. Okay, sorry, I got Dave Filoni completely wrong. I thought he was the person who plays Happy for some reason.
Jon Favreau is the one who plays
Okay, he's
Happy,
still
and
cool.
he's the one who like, yeah, he made the Mandalorian. Like, he's cool. Like,
Wait, so Dave Filoni
yeah,
was on Avatar?
yeah. I think he was one of the directors. He wasn't like the creator of
Okay.
it, but he worked on it.
Okay.
And then he got hired by Lucasfilm to do Clone Wars. Like, he's an animation guy. The Mandalorian was his first live action thing to work
Yeah.
on.
But yeah, he's definitely cool. Like he's like been with the Star Wars cartoon since the start as well with Clone Wars.
Pretty much the start. Like,
Mhm.
um, I know people want him to become the top guy and replace Kathleen Kennedy because he's just done so many great stuff. But honestly, I don't want him to take that role. I think he
Yeah.
should stay where he is because if he's the big boss, he's not making shows. He's going to be busy running everything, right? As Kathleen and the guys on top listen and give Dave Filoni and other great creators like John like the freedom to make shows and stuff. That. I mean, Star Wars has a bright future.
Indeed.
Um, I think that's it. Do you have anything else, like burning questions and anything?
I don't know. We'll just have to see where this goes over the next long time. Because like
Yeah.
this might be a cartoon that I'm genuinely gonna watch week by week as well. Because
Yes, definitely.
there's
I
a
mean,
lot of
yeah,
series like cartoons. I end up like leaving a bunch of episodes, but I feel like with how relevant this is between us, I'm gonna have to like
yeah.
because all the other cartoons I'm watching them by myself as well. So like
Yeah.
not like we not
This
like
like with
to talk.
this one, there's live discussion, not just between us two, but with people like you.
Yeah,
You can join our Discord. There's Twitter, there's Reddit, YouTube.
indeed.
Anyway, let's move on to autocomplete.
What do you
We're
want
gonna like
to do?
literally
B?
speedrun autocomplete.
Let's do B. Let's do
What
B.
was that
It's
up?
Bad Batch.
B.
B.
Okay. Um, if autocomplete would work, be nice.
Okay.
This is weird.
Okay. Okay.
What'd you get?
Okay. Yeah, this is very standard stuff. To go through it, I have Birth of Wishes, Fruits Basket is basically a song that a character in Fruits Basket mentions. And I was like, is that a real song? I went to search that up. There's button meme
Yeah.
template because my homework a few weeks ago was to make memes for English. So I searched
How
up
did it
templates.
go?
I
The
no
meme
no no.
making.
Well, we had votes. No, mine weren't
Oh,
voted for, but also I made too many.
I suppose you don't like democracy then.
I
I didn't.
upload peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new memes. I searched up Bird Girl because that was like a show name I was seeing, and I think it's more of an adult show maybe. And next was a Bad Batch animated Obi-Wan Kenobi because I was trying to search up when they animated the Revenge of the Sith scenes. Then last, BBC weather.
I mean, mine are very boring. BBC News, Barbers, BBC Weather, B&Q for some reason. I don't know why that's there. Um, B&Q is like this hardware store. If you guys aren't British, hardware. Buy hardware. No, it's not hardware. It's like building stuff, hammers, drills, gardening
Yeah.
stuff. Anyway, because there's literally nothing on my list to talk about. I want you. You mentioned memes as homework. Care to explain? I think people will be raising their eyebrows right now, wondering how on earth is this
Okay.
homework?
Yeah, I think it was because it was to jog our memories about the text we've been studying in English. or so. So our teacher set us the homework of making a meme for both books. I kind of went ham for the first book and made 10.
I think that's quite an interesting, like, yeah, like you need to understand the book you're reading to make memes, right? Like,
It's also fun.
otherwise your memes aren't gonna make sense if
Yeah.
you don't know what's going on in the book.
But yeah, it was also
I'd
my
say it's
yeah.
quite constructive
It was my
homework.
first time making memes, and I kind of went ham on it.
Yeah.
It was indeed certainly. I tried to say certainly and indeed at the same time there, and my brain just
Okay.
stopped.
Just just stopped working.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're really coming towards the end of the episode. We're going to end with a question of the day from Harry. Um, he asked, should Echo have done more or cared about in order I phrased that badly. Let me bring up the question and say word for word now because I really butchered that. Okay, his question was, do you think Echo's character was snubbed at all? Because I felt he should have cared way more about Order 66.
I suppose so. Because his character, not character. What am I trying to say? Echo, right, right. Echo's sort of squadron was especially close to the Jedi they worked with as well. So I guess
Yeah.
he really should have maybe like been like, this ain't cool, bro. But also, I guess he couldn't have done much.
Like, they didn't really have strong feelings about it.
Yeah,
Which is understandable, like, I think. I think, as I said, good soldiers follow orders. Like, maybe these people aren't at the stage of really questioning it and maybe protesting against it, but they're not going to carry it out. They're in this sort of grey area of, maybe they don't really worship the Jedi. Maybe
yeah.
they'll question it. They'll say, "Are you sure? Like, they did so much for us. Are you
You
sure
do see
you
that
want
in
us to kill them?"
season 7 with some of the clones. I don't know whether it was an inhibited fail or something, but some of the clones, right? They were certainly like, yo, why Ahsoka? Ahsoka's technically not a Jedi, you know. We don't need to
Yeah.
execute her. Like,
Like, I think they're in the grey area of they won't carry it out. They won't become mindless drones. They don't exactly worship the Jedi. Like, the Jedi, like, for a average person in the galaxy, a Jedi isn't like a good person. Like, for the clones, like, unless you have strong opinions, and none of them do, you're gonna kill them. Like, because you're told to. So
yeah,
Echo, yeah, he
Echo
did
was
spend a lot of
interesting.
time with Anakin and Ahsoka.
Yeah, because Echo is part of the
I don't
Bad
know.
Batch. He is. So even if he's not an OG of the Bad Batch, he's still someone. They should still focus on him. And maybe
I mean,
later on.
they don't have functioning chips, so
Yeah.
they should have questioned it more than they did, maybe.
I think Hunter did
I
enough.
can't
I
really.
think Hunter did enough in questioning it, in the fact that he didn't point his gun at Caleb. He was more like, "Come on, dude, let me help you." I feel like
Well,
that.
I think they didn't really know what Order 66
Also,
was because
okay,
they didn't have
for
chips
Wrecker,
that were working.
it's understandable. Wrecker's just there for a good time. um,
No, but like, no, they didn't understand what Order
oh,
66 was.
oh yeah,
They
of course, because
not even just Wrecker, but Tech went out and his job was to go and find out what was going on.
I guess yeah,
And then
because
like that
I guess the
beginning
point is
scene.
the inhibitor scene interprets Order 66 hearing kill all Jedi. They what Order 66 was, I suppose.
So yeah, they don't. I don't think the clones knew. It's just the inhibitor chip just turns them into droids essentially and
Yeah.
mind controls them. Like, if even if you go and ask about your average clone, oh, do you know what Order 66 is? They won't know what it is until you tell them execute Order 66, and then suddenly something snaps in their mind, and they just start doing it without knowing.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's how I interpret the chips to be. But yeah, I think Echo. I don't really have strong opinions because it's been a long time. It's been a year since I saw Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I can't really answer your question. But But I'd say
He possibly should have. Yeah.
I think maybe there should have been more questioning. There just wasn't much argument, like Crosshair was carrying it out, but they
Yeah.
never really had a heated
They
argument.
never asked
and
why.
really,
Why?
yeah, there wasn't that discussion. It was more like conflicted about what really. You sure?
But I think.
I mean, actually,
Okay. Yeah.
no, never mind. No,
I was gonna say even if they don't explore Order 66, we're gonna explore how people feel about clones now, right? Not only as soldiers, but how rebels start feeling about them, and if they'll even if rebels will even trust the Bad Batch as well, because they maybe always
well,
be
yeah.
wary.
I mean, it's a stark contrast to Clone Wars, as I said. Like, these clones are like droids now, and the whole show will be about the Bad Batch having to deal with this. Like, we've seen them. They've been defying orders all their life, but especially now, they've not killed Kanan. They've killed the innocent civilians who they were tasked to kill. They're definitely.
I guess the thing that really drives it home is how they were cheering that all the Jedi were dead.
The rest of the clones.
Yeah. Do you know the scene during Chancellor Palpatine talking to them?
Yeah.
They were all obviously cheering and go like, "Hey, long live," or whatever. But say,
"Long live the Empire."
Yeah. We kind of tangented off the main question, but yeah, we understand your question. It's a valid one.
Yes. Anyway, that is pretty much it. As this episode comes out, the next episode of The Bad Batch will be out as well, so we'll know more about the show in the coming weeks as we watch it, and maybe in a future episode, if we remember.
Yeah,
we'll bring up we'll come back to this.
Yeah. Should I just go with it? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, just watch out for new episodes. We're also on Spotify or any other possible podcast streaming platform. And I'm going to plug myself. Go up to my channel if it's in the description as well. And join our Discord server if it's also in the description.
Yes, you can join the discussion. We're active on Discord. You can go on Twitter. All the links and stuff is in the description below. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See ya.
Goodbye.